What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to our lady's favorite YouTube channel. One more game left to go in the season, but let's not kid ourselves. It's already over. It's kaput. We can move on to the future and worry about that. And some of the big names that we're going to be looking at are going to involve coaches and then, of course, some of the players that are probably going to be moving on. We'll talk about that as well as some other things. Stick with us. We'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today, it is Wednesday, May 31st, 2023, and of course, I got your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news you care about each and every single day. Before you do anything though, do me a solid favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos, and once again, I'm going to go ahead and shove this down your throats! But if you could, please go ahead and do me a favor. If you support us, support the channel. If you want to help support me, just go over here. It's something I'm just doing for fun on my side. But if you could, pop right over here right now. Now we can talk like men podcast. Hit the subscribe button. Maybe give a video a like or give it a, if you could, just check it out. But basically, subscribe to the channel within today or tomorrow. And I'll say this right now. I'll be giving away a free Bianconeri Zone shirt. The black, white, or green, one of those that you like, we'll be giving away once we hit 100 subscribers. We are almost there. We are very, very close. And this is the easiest opportunity you have to be the winner of a Bianconeri Zone shirt. Any of the giveaways we do here on the channel, especially now the pool is so much bigger. It's growing, it's growing, it's growing. Well, the pool over there is fairly small. So you have a very, very good opportunity to win a Bianconeri Zone shirt if you do it right now. So please go over there, hit that subscribe button, and do that now. All right, let's get into it and let's talk about the news. Unfortunately, as peppy and as hype and as happy as I can be when I'm talking about the other channel and the fun stuff and the nonsense we're doing, it's unfortunately been a lot more difficult to try to do that when it comes to Juventus, given circumstances that have been going on lately. But I will do my best to try to do it today. First up, let's go ahead and talk about what is going on with Juventus and the squad going into the final match of the season. Well, Gianluca Di Marzio, which I guess this is what he has right now to report on, is that basically the fitness of Juventus is not looking great. Doubts about Vlahovic and Bremer, their fitness for the match against Udinese, as well as Moise Kean limped off the pitch in training today too. I got nothing for you guys right now. Who cares? It doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter. Season's over. All the other crap that's been going on, there's nothing really to play for at this point. So let's move on. And the next thing we know right now, we're going to talk about here in a couple stories. The outcome of, any points that Juventus has anyway may not really matter at all. And we'll talk about that here in just a sec. But let's go ahead and move on and let's talk about one of those guys that potentially could be injured or not physically fit for the match that is. Well, let's talk about Dusan Vlahovic and his future with the club right now. This is Telegraph Serbia. It's a Serbian local thing, so we'll see how reliable this source is. But they're reporting that Dusan Vlahovic is close to joining Bayern. Thomas Tuchel personally spoke with Vlahovic and pointed out how much he wants him in the team. Talks between Bayern and Juventus are ongoing and in a positive direction. We'll see. I've heard nothing otherwise that Juventus is even entertaining talks right now. We've talked about, obviously, it makes sense for him to potentially move on, but everything we've seen has been pretty committal to him and his future at the club and being with Juventus. We'll see if that really does start to get some traction and we switch out and we look at how much money can you even get. We've looked at if the number's around 80 million euros, but the one thing we saw when it came to Bayern and how much they got out of De Ligt, it was not nearly the amount we were hoping for. I don't need another situation like this with Vlahovic. If they even try to play any games, let's move on and let's just keep our guy for a little bit longer. That's what I would say personally. Let's continue to move on, though, and let's move on and get away from that topic and talk about some other unfortunate news. This is some issues that I was talking about why it wouldn't matter is, of course, the issue when it comes to UEFA. Maybe Juve are not completely out of the woods like I was hoping yesterday when all the reports and all the conversation was going on about the way that the hammer had come or did not come down on Juventus. Sports Media Set is reporting that Juventus are set to deal with an investigation from UEFA if their capital gains case is dealt as a violation of financial fair play. They will be handed a 1-year ban from Europe applied to Europa or Conference League play because they're not making the Champions League. So if they want to keep them out of anything that they can, they will do it to Europa, which I don't even know. I'm going to be honest, is that a punishment for me? I don't have to watch the Europa League? That's going to be a punishment? I understand. There's money. There's positives to even playing in the lesser conference or the lesser league at the same time. It did nothing for me this season. Let's be honest. And there's one thing we know. There's one guy at the helm, Shefrin, who has got his panties up in a wad, and he is coming for Juve any way that he can because of the situation with Agnelli. He is the godfather of his child, as well as the white elephant in the room, which is the Super League. So we go on and move on to Gazzetta dello Sport, who is a full hard on, ready to go, ready to talk about anything negative about Juventus. They're ready. They do not need Blue Chew. They don't need hymns. They don't need Viagra. They don't need none of it. That's what Gazzetta dello Sport is here to go for. They're here to talk negative about Juventus. And anytime there's an opportunity, they're going to do it. To which he says that ban from UEFA is still on the cards, and the plea bargain only accelerates the meeting in Nyon for mid-June. The political part of the Super League looms in the background. While a ban is not considered long-term, separating Juve from the Super League can only help the club. So as it stands right now, if Juve really want to do themselves a favor, that's what they would do, as they would say, no, we're not really pursuing Super League. We're that was an Agnelli thing. But at the same time, there's like me on the other side that's saying, bleep them. Who gives a damn about you, your mama, or anybody else riding in on a horse today? We are going with the Super League, and we know what we're going to do. We're going to take down what you have, UEFA. We're going to take down all of it, and we're coming for you. I don't know. We'll see what they do in the end. Do they stick with the Super League, or do they move on? I don't know. We'll see. I may bleep that out anyway. I may bleep out what I just said anyway. Let's continue on, and let's move about the other topics today. Well, before we get into really the coaches and the aspect of how they're going to pursue another coach, or if they even are going to do it in the end, we have to get to the next guy in line. And that, of course, is the sporting director for Juventus. Corriere dello Sport is reporting that a meeting between Giuntoli and De Laurentiis is scheduled for next week. If no agreement is reached, Giuntoli could opt for a resignation, with no certainty, however, that the president would accept his resignation. And there's one thing we know: anybody who's going to be volatile and you have no expectations of what this man's going to do or how he will do it is, of course, Swamp Man De Laurentiis. So right now, I'm expecting. We were talking about a few weeks ago about him actually doing something positive. Of course not. Of course, he would never do anything positive. The man is a troll. We continue on, though, and Nico Schida is backing this up, saying he expected a meeting in the next days between Giuntoli and De Laurentiis to try to reach an agreement for the termination of the contract, which expires in 2024. The sports director considers his era at Napoli over. He's done. He's ready to move on. Juventus are waiting on him. So more confirmation there. All right. Main part of the day, the meat and potatoes, if you will. Right now, Juventus are obviously looking, I think the fans at least are, looking for a new coach and a new way forward and a new guy who will lead this team to the promised land, or at least to better than this bleep hole that we're in right now. Some of those names that are rumored out there, let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is a newish one, but we've mentioned this before, that of Thiago Motta. Two Mercado Web's reporting that Juventus continue to reflect on the coaching poll for next season. The name they're hot on is that of Thiago Motta, as the club likes his team's organizations and style of play. Names like Grosso and Palladino are considered too inexperienced for a big club like Juventus. And I bring that up because obviously we have a plethora of different names that are coming out right now, but there's one that we even talked about here on the channel previously, that we even floated out there for a long time. And now it looks like at least some guys are trying to push this name. Whether it's true or not, we have to bring it up. And Corriere della Sera is reporting that there is a part of the management that wants to bring back Antonio Conte. And it makes complete sense to me, not complete sense to go after him. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I have backed off of my stance. I am no longer on they bring back Antonio Conte train. We saw how things worked out, but did not work out great when it came to how he did in Tottenham. It worked in Inter, obviously, and you see them continuing to have success, playing in the Champions League final now, that they have moved on from him. That's something that Antonio Conte can do. He can lay the groundwork for you if you give him at least some of the pieces that he needs, though he will continue. You give him Mouse a cookie, he's going to want more. Antonio Conte, he's volatile in other aspects as well. I guess my question that I have to bring up to you all and to myself now is Juve in that big of a rut right now that you would even consider Antonio Conte again if you think that he is a guy that can get Juventus back, at least to do kind of a rehash of what he did back in 2011? Or is this kind of a, like, we need to look for the future? I'm sorry. He's a good coach. We can say that he's a good coach, but the baggage ain't worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. Let's look toward the new guys and let's gamble a little bit more on maybe some guys that we don't know if it's going to work out. Because no matter what you say, you don't know if a Thiago Malta is going to work out. You do not know if a Tudor is going to work out. I don't know. Of course, we don't really know if Antonio Conte 2.0 would work either. But again, there's been enough evidence in the past that it usually works more than it doesn't. Again, I don't know why I'm making an argument for Conte, but I'm at least trying to be reasonable in this in the end. But maybe if you want to put yourselves at ease, if you really don't want Conte, and I understand that, Romeo Gudesti talked about on his YouTube channel today, said, as for the coaches post Max Allegri, on the Conte front, I only found denials on his name. I expect the next Juve coach to be that of Tudor or someone like Malta. In other words, not an established top coach. So more than likely, you're probably not going to see Antonio Conte at Juventus once again, but with everything swirling around, we had to talk about it. Obviously, there's more names out there that you could go with. You can consider that of Italiano, who's out there. We even know that Fiorentina, I believe Comiso basically commented and said, I already have his replacement. So if he goes somewhere, he goes somewhere. He already confirmed that they have their replacement. So we'll see what happens if Italiano could be a guy to add to that list as well. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below if you haven't already. Do me a favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, stay notified for all of our latest videos. If you could also consider joining us over at the other channel, the Now We Can Talk Like Men podcast. Going to be some nonsense, going to be some fun, and going to be hopefully a lot more good times going forward as we try to work here on the I guess this application that is YouTube. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. If you want, you can follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter. You can follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri. Say hello to the old lady for me.